her visits home, her visits here from Chicago. But I really didn't see it. I thought they would miss the comforts and convenience of their life in the Chicago area and would be isolated, living here year-round. By that point, I knew my dad well enough to know that there was no point or advantage in sharing any of these concerns with him. He and Mom were going to do what they were going to do. And of course, as it turns out, I was completely wrong. My fears were misplaced. Mom and Dad thrived in Mount Eagle, found their community in place here, and made exactly the right decision. And so much of that community my parents found is here tonight. Assembly people, Sewanee people, church people, Heritage Center people, other friends and family, and all the overlaps between those groups. So in addition to congratulating Dad on his 90th birthday, I would like to thank everyone here for being such an important part of Dad's community these many years. Thank you, and cheers.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Kowalski. I'm Oliver's favorite son-in-law. I was the person who collected the RSVPs, so I got to correspond with many of you or speak with you on the phone or get texts or emails, so thank you for sending in your responses. There were a lot of folks who couldn't come who wrote nice messages for Oliver, which was really gratifying to read. And we collated those and put them into a document and printed them out for him. So thank you for everyone's messages. The other thing I want to say is I always knew when I saw Gene and Oliver how much Gene loved him. And I learned over the years coming here to Mount Eagle and to Sewanee when Gene worked as a head resident in the dorms, and I got to know the campus that way. That Gene greatly admired Oliver's work, hugely proud of his leadership in Sewanee at the Mount Eagle Sunday School Assembly and at the Heritage Center. And I'm sure if she were here with us, she would have actually planned this event instead of it being planned by a committee. In fact, she was the planner-in-chief for the 80th birthday, and we were all just the lieutenants carrying out her orders 10 years ago. So, Oliver, I'm very, very glad to be able to say happy birthday to you, and I hope we have many more.
Hi there, I'm Wheeler Jervis. I'm the oldest of the three children, and we're just stunned and overwhelmed by how many people wanted to come here and honor my dad. You guys have come from locally and come from very far distances. It's just, you know, we are really blessed, as Reverend Rob alluded to earlier. I would like to thank my brother Bruce and husband Jim for their organization of this event and their magnanimous sponsorship of this event. Very few people live to this grand age, and very few are so accomplished as my dad. Most of you know my dad, that he is a stubborn rascal, and that probably contributes to him getting to this milestone. Growing up in the Jervis household was not necessarily easy, but there was a lot of supportive fuel that we benefited from. We came from a family that had 4 grandparents that attended college. Occasionally seen now, but very rare for people that were born in the late 1800s. Academic success and commitment to education was an unspoken pressure and expectation. Our parents were very facilitative in our school activities, but I also appreciated how much they appreciated the arts and other activities, and their commitment to developing social and cultural appreciation for us. As young children, we were excused from class to go on cultural excursions to Chicago, attending children's programs, plays at the Goodman Theater, and visiting museums such as the Art Institute, Shedd Aquarium, and Museum of Science and Industry. We reveled in these family cultural events. My mom and dad were heavily supportive of our outside interests, which predominantly revolved around sports. My dad coached all of us in baseball and later supported incredible support as we advanced in hockey, tennis, figure skating, driving us all over the Chicago area during the week, weekly, and extending into all over the country as we advanced in those pursuits. My mom and dad sacrificed some of their careers so that we had this opportunity. Their enthusiasm for our athletic exploits continued through college and even beyond. My parents had been the biggest cheerleaders for Jenny as head coach of her powerhouse Harpeth Hall cross-country teams, for example. My dad also was a strong believer in serving our country. He actually served in the Army Reserves. I didn't realize he was endowing this commitment to Bruce and me until I went on a summer college tour after my junior year. I was marched to the ROTC office as my dad had decided this was how I would facilitate the cost of my college and provide service to the country. A little surprised at the introduction of this momentous declaration and expectation, I did grow to appreciate this. After 2 years of college, I did withdraw from ROTC, but later pursued an Air Force scholarship to attend medical school. That latter decision was one of the best I ever made, leading to 9 years serving in the Air Force, practicing medicine in pure form, along with great physicians and staff with a unified goal.
Woo!
It also led to me meeting my future wife and fellow Air Force physician, Lisa. My dad has accomplished a lot in 90 years. He was a history major and history buff, and I always sort of in the back of my head wondered why he pursued law instead of being a history teacher. He states that he was lured to the University of Chicago Law School by a recruiter who was promoting law careers to students at the University of the South. Despite that, he maintained an interest in historical preservation for decades, beginning as we grew up in Naperville. In Naperville, he was a driving force in moving a church and multiple historic buildings to set up neighbor settlement on the grounds of the Martin Mitchell Museum. In semi-retirement, full retirement in the late 1990s, he became involved in NSSA as president and then in volunteering to promote the Cumberland Outreach Center. He's had a strong commitment to history, and he felt like history could be a driving facet of tourism in this area. As all of you know, he has subsequently dedicated his efforts to leading the Grundy County Historical Society Heritage Center as a leader, visionary, and fundraiser. He has seen remarkable growth of the center, expanding into a new building and a more upcoming development of a garden center and garden house. My dad was not the household manager. We lived in a traditional household where he was largely served and waited upon. His relationship with my mom lasted over 60 years and nearly 60 years of marriage. In the last years of my mom's life, as she advanced into worsening Alzheimer's disease, he remarkably stepped up and took over that role. Although he was not medical, he adapted the role of caregiver, meal preparer, and exuded tremendous strength and patience. Hello? Which is difficult, especially as my mom advanced and became more of a patient. And when someone becomes a patient, they often take out their complaints on the caregiver. And he tolerated that without any backlash or anything. It was really admirable to watch him take care of her. His attention and support of her was a reward and commitment to her for her years of love and service to him. She was able to stay in her home, their home, up until her final day, as she wished it to be, due to his dedication and devotion. I said my dad is a rascal and a stubborn one at that. He has an uncanny ability to decide something, oftentimes preposterous, should be done, and somehow he gets you to help him participate. My dad convinced me as a teenager to embark on an unplanned trek to Foster Falls, 13 miles, from Fiery Gizzard, starting sometime in the afternoon. Unplanned, we had no water, food, or flashlights. Unsurprisingly, this trek took more hours than daylight provided, and we stumbled the last mile or so in pure darkness, only realizing we were close when we heard the somewhat desperate shouts from my mom and the forest ranger in the distant parking lot. Fast forward a couple of decades, my dad decided it was imperative that my wife, pregnant at the time, and I helped him push a wheelbarrow of collected prized wildflowers up the mountain from the bedding ground, down the mountain outside of the North Trail. The skies were ominous, but he was resolute in getting this accomplished. Needless to say, the skies opened up on us as we traipsed the rickety wheelbarrow up the mountain, even having to lift it over a fence, arriving back at Woodlawn, a drenched and muddy mess. My dad is a great and accomplished man, a man who has had profound influence on my life. I love him dearly, as I know many here do as well. There are too many attributes and things to say about my dad, but I will add one more, and I truly admire the way that he has such a sweet relationship with his two granddaughters and his impending son-in-law, North. So, if everyone, I'll conclude with that. And if everyone would raise a toast, let's raise a toast to my dad for his continued health and happiness.
Hear, hear.
I'm Jervis, and I think I know many of you here, but it's wonderful to celebrate this evening with you, and I will just reiterate what my brother-in-law and sister-in-law have said, and we're just so grateful that all of you came forward and were here to celebrate this night with us. I think it goes without saying, in our family, it's hard to be third. Well, I've always been the last one, and following my brothers has always been a challenge, so I will do my best. But I'm thrilled to be here to speak about our father and the influence and impact he's had on all of us. And by all of us, I mean all of us in this room. Our father is known for many, many things. His vice-like memory, which I think my brothers and I would agree, we wish it was not quite as good. His impeccable sense of style. You can always count on him to be nattily attired, sourced, of course, from his favorite store, First Brothers. His appreciation of beautiful china and silver. If you've been to our house, you know that our dining room table is always set for 8, just in case we need to break out in a dinner party, with his finest china and silver. And should you need, we always have every possible spoon available for you. When Dad decided to pursue his law degree at the University of Chicago, he embraced the South Side, became a fan of the scrappy White Sox, and raised us to follow suit, with only Bruce betraying our heritage to root for the Cubs. When he and Mom moved to Naperville, they threw themselves fully into the community, volunteering, as Wheeler just mentioned, at the Heritage Society, at our school district's PTO. Dad coached my brother's baseball teams and was president of their hockey association. When I was a junior in college and spent the year in France, Dad thought the biggest wall map I've ever seen of the world and tracked my every move, posting with blue marker every stop I made. And he followed suit with my mom and brothers who came to visit me throughout that journey. As important as these places were to him, Dad always had an intense connection to and respect of this mountain. He started coming here as a young boy when his mother was recruited to work with the children's program, and he loved it. He made great friends with people both in and outside of the gates, and he drank in all its offerings, not just his own experiences, but also the stories of the people here, his contemporaries and those who came before him. As an adult, he loved returning to the mountain, sharing his favorite hikes and swimming holes with us. He had, and still has, an uncanny ability and sense of navigation, ably arriving at remote spots simply by recognizing a tree, an abandoned building, or some seemingly insignificant landmark. This place is a part of his fabric. The stories of the people here filled him and knitted him tighter to this community. The tales of the Moffats, the Bagenstasses, Miles Horton, the Hartons, and others were and are as important to him as his own stories. So it was not surprising that as he had more time after my brothers and I graduated from college, he became more involved, participating actively in the assembly program, volunteering at Winfield in the assembly, where he and my mom dedicated much time to nurturing the garden there. They even developed a low-key coffee shop called Miss Elodie's for a few summers. He was elected to the board and served 2 terms as president. Upon his retirement, he and Mom moved to the mountain, and initially this was a bit of a struggle for him. After leaving his law practice, he wasn't quite sure to do with all his free time, and he was never one to sit by the wayside or spend the day golfing. But after a bit of wandering, he found this vacant historic portion of the Tri-County Bank in Tracy City and thought this would be a wonderful space to honor the vibrant communities that make up this mountain. The communities that he always understood were intertwined and critical to one another. This center would become a hub where people could learn about the Highlanders School, the Sewanee Mining Company, the Mountain Goat Railroad, as well as the mosaic of communities that contributed to this place's mystique. The Grundy County Heritage Center is a perfect marriage of his love of history and his sense of place. Through his work there and in the assembly, Dan has been able to share his passion for people and their stories. And with his knowledge, he's making sure that we don't forget where we came from and what binds us together. And each of you in this room are part of that fabric. So thank you again for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to Dad, who I think has a gift for you all.
Well, thank you for children. Wheeler, Bruce, Jim, Jenny. I want to thank all of you for attending this event. It is very significant to me that you are here, and I appreciate your being here. Thank you very much. A few years ago, when we were building a museum at Tracy City, I began writing a thesis and trying to explain what the museum was all about. And I started a booklet, and I have recently done some additional work to it and revised it. And it also includes, in the booklet, it includes 2 stories. One is the story of the Historical Society Museum in Tracy City and what's there. And the other story is called Mountain People, and it is a story of the culture of the southern Appalachian region, and tries to develop the notion of an exploration of how the culture of that region has developed and exists today. I have with the assistance of Kathy Bennett of Winchester, who was here tonight, publications and also working with the copyright issues dealing with this publication. I have put together a booklet, and I am going to hand out, I would like to hand out a copy of this to each one of you, each family that is here, and the children, my children, all nine of them, will distribute them. Each person should take 2 tables, and I think we can cover 18 tables in a very short order. But in any event, these are my gift to you, and I hope you will read it, and I hope you will also come to the Heritage Center and experience what we are trying to do over there. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. I am Alexa Jervis. I am the youngest granddaughter. It is so wonderful to see how many people my granddad has touched just throughout his life. I know how much of an impact he's had on me and how much he means to me, and it's just beautiful to see how much he means to other people too. So really thank you so much. And this is my fiance.
My name's North Carter. As Alexa mentioned, I'm her fiance, and therefore Oliver's future favorite grandson.
And we are about to get into some cake, which is super exciting. But before that, we wanted to sing happy birthday, and hopefully everyone in the room can join us. So I'm going to count to 3, and then we are going to go ahead and sing happy birthday to honor you. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Oliver. Happy birthday to you.